everybody, it's Andrew here from I Find a Local. Today I'm here with Mr. Geoff Moller, an old friend of mine. We go back a few years, and he's been in business on the Sunshine Coast for how long?
Oh, 25, 30 on and off, different businesses.
Yeah. So we're actually shooting this video at his house out in the garden, and we've actually got the full-on lights and all sorts of things here because Geoff's I used to teach video, so I'm actually learning a thing or two because I sort of just turn the camera on and have a crack sort of thing. But it's good to have Geoff here because we've actually got a proper setup for a change. So maybe, Geoff, we can start off with you telling us about some of the things you've done in the past, going back a few years.
Oh, okay. Well, I started off in business, in a family business, which was originally a automatic repair shop and motor engineering and motor garage, and then we had the bright idea. This is before jet skis came to Australia, so we thought, oh, they look good. The old Kawasaki 440cc stand-up pole jet ski, and we thought, oh, they look good. And so we went to Kawasaki, and they said, oh, we'd like to take on an agency for the jet skis. And I said, no. They said, yeah, no, we just want to sell jet skis. I said, no, you have to take on a motorcycle agency as well if you want to sell jet skis. And so it was an accidental business. We got into motorcycles, which really took off the Kawasaki agency for the Sunshine Coast, only because we wanted to get our hands on the jet skis as well. And so we got into those. We hotted some up like Port and Polish and did a lot of that. They were very popular at the time. And then and we sponsored and entered some races on them as well. But eventually we got out of the jet skis because the motorcycle side just got too big, and we dropped off the car repairs, and the automatic repair business sort of died away as well, and kept some of the engineering side. And then I went into a couple other industries with my work, and then back out into the industry on doing computers.
All right. Mm-hmm.
I just found I had a really strong interest.
So were you born and bred here on the coast?
Yes, I was born in Nambour.
Oh, wow. You're a rare breed.
I've been told that for more than one reason. But I was born here on the coast, moved away for several years, and then came back to raise the kids here on the Sunshine Coast. And we've been here ever since. So no, if you have to live somewhere, the Sunshine Coast isn't too bad.
Isn't it fantastic? So how many children have you got?
I've got three grown-up sons, all adults in their 30s, and three grandchildren, one 16 and one two under 3.
Oh, okay, cool. So you were telling me, well, you've told me before in the past, I didn't know about the motorbikes, by the way, or the jet skis, so that's a new story. But you were telling me that you used to teach video.
Yes.
And how long ago was that?
Going back about 6 years now. Mm-hmm. So I got into that because number one, I saw the direction the video would go, social media and video, and so part of a contract course that was sponsored or funded by Odds Industry, we ran a program about embracing business online. About all things online, and part of that social media, and a big part of that was also video. And so I went, and part of that course over several weeks was learning how to use a video, YouTube, and the advantages of video in business, things like that.
Yeah, no, I'm a big believer. I think video is going to be huge, and is becoming huge now, and I firmly believe that all small businesses, and this is what's prompted me to sort of start I Find a Local, really, to help small businesses get more social. Yeah. And I've heard business owners say, I'm not going to get onto Facebook and that sort of thing, but I think, we almost have no choice, otherwise you're going to get left in the dust. So sitting in front of a camera like this not so long ago was very foreign. I'm still a little bit, jitterish, I guess, but I'm feeling much more comfortable with it. And the great thing about video, of course, is you can get your message across so quickly. I've just worked with a small company here, and they've really embraced video. Actually, their company name's Trailers Direct, and I was speaking to the owner of the business down in the Gold Coast.
I've seen the video.
And he likened it to, I said, you've got to start doing videos with your phone, and it's very quick, it's very easy, just a short 2 to 3 minute video in the morning. So he sort of said, oh, it's a bit like opening the gates in the morning. The next thing you do is it's something you do every day. The next thing you do is take a short video, upload it, and get on with your day. And I think that's about it. It's all about storytelling, isn't it?
It is about storytelling, having that story to tell, and then having the courage to actually tell it as well. Sit in front of a camera now, like nearly all people, I'm not that comfortable in front of a camera. I'd rather be behind it sometimes, and so sitting in front of the camera can be a bit daunting, and I think everyone finds that. So, but once you start and once you understand it, it's just creating that habit, finding the story and expressing it in some way, or about a product. I had when I was doing the course years ago, it was a photocopy agency, and we did the video section of the program, and he took up doing videos about how to do, for two reasons. He did the videos about how to operate his photocopiers, more big office photocopiers, and that way when someone asked something, he could direct them to the video and say, well, this is how you do it, rather than spend time on the phone with support time. And then he also went on to keep on creating those videos, so when people did a search on YouTube, they could find, well, how to duplex and staple. And they come across his company and him, and his business just went berserk. He is fantastic. Yeah. Not only that, but he also won awards for innovation in growing his business and how he went about marketing as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sort of got some acquaintances who are very big really in the internet marketing space, but they sort of operate globally, and of course that space is getting quite competitive now. Yes. But certainly in a local area like the Sunshine Coast, it's wide open, and I know that the companies that I've worked with thus far have had almost instant results, and it's awesome. So I, like you, go back online for a long time. I did a long time, 20 years or more, before Google anyway, and I remember those days where SEO was very, very easy, and it was only up until about a few years ago did it really change. And it's not about, and they're saying that YouTube is going to be well, it already is the second biggest search engine, but they're saying that YouTube will overtake Google in due course.
I think that's the case, and you all really have a lot of expertise in SEO, whereas until recently, when it became more about quality content and content marketing, SEO is just those dark arts as far as I'm concerned, and you have that expertise, but now
not anymore.
But it has changed, yes.
But I do liken YouTube very much to Google in the early days. It's very easy. Well, I think it's quite easy to get ranked on YouTube. But and I think we're finding more and more people going, certainly on bigger ticket. I'm very keen on photography, as you know, so I like to learn stuff, or if I'm buying a bigger ticket item, I'll always go to YouTube and get the reviews, and it's fantastic. So, but look, one of the reasons I really wanted to talk to you, mate, is because your expertise in trademarking, and so we wanted to have a good chat about that, because it really is so important, I think, to protect your brand. And so maybe we'd like to start by talking about why, and maybe explaining just some of the horror stories that you've come across with people that haven't trademarked and have been taken to task by people that have.
Yes. Well, I had a problem with trademarking 15, 20 years ago, which really piqued my interest and drove me into the trademarking in my background with management consulting. And then I started to help people prepare and lodge trademark applications, which is what I do, the technical aspect of the trademarks. But I come across stories all the time, a lot here on the Sunshine Coast and a lot around Australia, about people who have been trading a long time and didn't bother to protect their name, and then they might receive a cease and desist letter, which is usually 9 days, and with Australia Post, that take 3 days for the letter, or 4 days for it to arrive, and so they've got 9 or 10 days to cease trading and pull down the signage under threat from a large legal firm in Sydney, and then they've got to make a decision as to what they do. And usually I may be the first point of contact, and I say, well, you've got to speak to a lawyer very quickly. You can't ignore it. And there's one story with a lady who had been trading for 17 years, and she thought she was safe because her business name had been trading a long time. She uses she's consulting and flies between the Sunshine Coast and Sydney. And when she got the cease and desist letter, she's a friend of mine, so she rang and said, "Oh no, you've got to talk to someone." It's not because you can ignore it, but it's because you really got to. You can't ignore it. You've got to act on it. So, although it's unlikely that she would lose the use of her trademark, the other people took her name, her business name, and then trademarked and got the trademark through, 'cause she didn't know, on a product. And so they were teaching a program called almost exactly the same as her business name. Then they sent, they were aware of each other. Then they sent her a cease and desist letter. Now,
And how long had they been operating? Were they relatively new by comparison?
no, they've been operating several years, but they didn't trademark their name. They trademarked a course program, a
Right.
product. But the product was her business name.
Right.
Now, she had ignored the opportunity to trademark. So
she was aware, was she?
she was aware of the company, but she wasn't really
Wasn't
aware.
aware.
Yeah. And so what happened in the end was she's unlike. She went and saw the IP attorney, the lawyer, and now she's unlikely to lose because she's had it so long. But the problem is that the other people now have the trademark. They have cost her a lot of money because she's now had to pay legal fees to get advice, to send letters, the correspondence back and forward. So it would have been much cheaper for her to apply for a trademark at the time. But now the other people have the trademark. So when the new people might buy the other business, the new people who buy the business will have a trademark, and the new people who take over the other business may come after her again. So it could be a long, ongoing battle, and she's lost the opportunity to trademark.
So would she perhaps have been better off to sort of surrender and to create a new brand?
I don't know. I don't think that crossed her mind.
Yeah, it's crazy. So what are your thoughts on that? I mean, I tend to think that if you've been trading for 20 years,
Yeah.
that you almost sort of I think obviously it's not the law, but personally I think it's almost that person's right to.
Well, it is.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's what they call an unregistered trademark.
So what the story?
And that's why she can't lose, because it's unregistered and she's used for so long.
Right. Okay. So she can't lose.
No, well, it's unlikely that she can.
But it's just cost her a lot of money.
Yeah, and it depends how deep the pockets are of the other party as well.
So what was the story?
Bluff, a bit of chess.
Yeah. I know what you like to do, wouldn't you? But so what was the story with Ugg Boots? Had a similar situation, didn't they?
Yeah. So no one in Australia had bothered to think about the trademark for Ugg Boots in Australia, but an American company who had the trademark in America come through and applied for a trademark in Australia for Ugg Boots. Now, it's going back quite a number of years, so I just got to make sure I get the story correct. But what happened was they lodged a trademark. It would have went through, except that someone or group opposed the trademark because they said it was a common word within the Australian language, and it was defeated as a trademark in Australia. But definitely, if you tried to sell sheepskin boots in America and call them Ugg boots, it's that term's gone.
Yeah, I was working with a company. I can mention the name, Get Tools Direct, actually, and they fortunately trademarked their name.
Yes.
And on one occasion, it came in very handy because somebody started to use the name, and at the time, the owner of the company sort of said to me, "No, we won't worry about it." And I said, "No, you've got to jump on it," because anyway, he did, and it was all over very quickly, and he received an apology. But what happens if you don't act? This is an interesting one, isn't it?
Well, that's right. So if you don't act, it may be seen, and I'm not a lawyer, so I just got to be careful about this. It may be seen that you condone or approve the other person's use of that trademark. Now, if they then use that trademark for 5 to 7 years or longer, then they could apply for the trademark based on the fact that they've had the use of it for 5, 7 years or 10 years. And so they could end up with a registered trademark in parallel to your trademark.
Didn't Eskig have a similar type situation?
Yes, but I don't know the story.
Yeah,
so,
no, we
yeah.
won't go into it. So, okay, so what's the process then? If I've got an unregistered business name, or domain name as well, is that like?
Yeah. You mean you don't really own the domain name in
No,
Australia?
I understand, but
Until you have the trademark. So if you have a domain name and someone else owns a trademark for it, they can force you to give up that domain name, and
or force you to stop using it.
force you to stop using it.
So you don't necessarily need to give it up, but you can
Well,
stop using it.
exactly, stop using. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
once you start to use it in the
Yeah.
in the marketing. So with the things like domain names, registered business names, company names, they all come secondary to the intellectual property surrounding a registered trademark.
Right.
So there's a registered trademark and an unregistered trademark.
So a trademark generally, though, isn't it the logo or the words?
Well, it can be. It's about protecting the look, feel, and sound of a brand,
Right.
and giving you the exclusive right to use that in Australia. That's what we're talking about, Australia. Every country has their own sovereignty around intellectual property and trademarks. So in Australia, you might have a business called ABC Widgets, and you trademark that. Now, someone else may come along and have a similar name, so it's about protecting the look and feel
Look and feel.
and sound, so that a consumer can't be confused either by accident or on purpose, can't be deceived about one brand versus another.
Right.
So even the words which might be fat, so it could be PHAT, FATT,
Right.
they're spelled differently but they sound the same. And the reason the sound is protected is because once they advertise on the radio and TV, it's that confusion about the product
Yeah.
or the service,
I can understand that.
which is the same. Yeah.
Yeah. So the process.
I
Is the process the same for every brand, every trademark, or,
Yeah, every
or is some
trademark
a bit harder
application.
than others? Or
Yeah, the process is, and I always encourage people, as soon as you have an idea or about a brand or a name of a service or product or a tagline, the start is to really look at what you're going to market and what's going to bring in the money, and then you really have to begin to do the trademark application. Look, when I apply for trademark now, I won't even mention the brand or name until I've got the trademark in place, which takes 8 months.
wow.
So a trademark application takes 8 months. You've got to check that there's not already an existing trademark in place. If it's a really good idea, and I'll tell you another little story. It's about a lady who went touring, a popular speaker. She sells a lot of product online, and she had this idea for coffee brand, and it's a great name, a really good name. And she came back, she phoned me and said, "Oh, Geoff, can you apply for this trademark? I really want to go ahead with this product, online product." And I said, "Yeah, not a problem." But when I looked it up, this is in mid-January, just after the Christmas break. Someone had applied for the trademark on the 23rd of December, 2 days before December.
Before her.
Before her. And so what we figured was that on her tour, she spoke about her idea and concept, and about the brand she's going to create, and the excitement about the coffee brand, things like that. And what we figured was that someone else also thought it was a good idea,
I went
and they applied for it.
So if that being the case, they were 2 days in front, so there's no point in.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she had lost the opportunity because she didn't apply and talked about it.
People.
Yeah.
I know I often open my mouth too early. I mean, I can't help myself. I get so excited about something, but I am learning to keep it zipped when you have a good idea. Otherwise, somebody else will.
Yeah. So I always encourage people to start the process straight away, because it takes 8 months. There's 5 to 7 key steps along the way, and not to brag to the world you've applied for trademark, because there is a time period, about 5.5 months after the application's lodged, where people can oppose a trademark.
Right.
So I always tell people, look, don't brag about it. Just let the time pass until the opposition period's over. No one can oppose it, and then you're right.
Yeah.
Things it has to. The thing about trademark is you can't apply for a geographic location, and you can't apply for activities within a industry. So I can't apply for Brisbane panel beaters because Brisbane's a geographic location, so it would be Parramatta or Sunshine Coast or Marici, and you can't apply for panel beaters because that's deemed as a term that other people in the panel beating industry need to use in their day-to-day trading to advertise what they do. Mm-hmm. So common language within a industry, whether it's medical or mechanical or engineering or internet. And I remember once there was a trademark called Suncoast.
I remember that.
And it was a registered trademark. And I'll relate the story if you don't mind, because it's really good, because it was a registered trademark, Suncoast. And it was a very popular name. And what happened was they didn't renew after 10 years. So maybe they didn't change their address, or they didn't know it was coming up for renewal. And it was a fantastic name and really would have been worth a lot of money. And so, but by the time that lapsed and the application was lodged the second time.
That was me, I think, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. The word Suncoast had become known as a geographic location. IP Australia knocked it back. Said, oh no, everyone knows it's a Sunshine Coast, so you can't have it. Whereas if the person had renewed it, it would have been worth a lot of money.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? So I don't want you to be specific with the cost, but certainly it's not prohibitive, is it? It's for a small business to get trademarked, it's not a huge cost, is it?
No, that's right. So the price will vary, and the way it's priced, I have a flat fee. I do, and some legal firms will start off with a low cost but charge for every phone and fax, everything like that. So it can get very expensive after. But to start the process is not very expensive. The government fees, and you can do it yourself, by the way. There's just
there'd be some pros and cons in doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the government fees in Australia at the moment, they do change, is $200 to apply per item per class. So if you have a logo and a name, that's 2 items.
And how many classes are there?
There's 45 classifications to choose from, and the trick is to choose the right classifications without going overboard. So typically I find most clients will have 2 to 3 trademark classifications that would cover everything they do. I've had some with 7 and I've had some with 1. So $200 to apply, and it goes 8 months. And then at the end, there's $300 to register per item per class. So that's $500 all up, spread over 8 months, provided there's no issues along the way, to apply for and register a trademark. And
on average, how many classes would 3 or 4 maybe?
2 to 3 usually.
2 to 3.
Yeah.
So look, it is really important to everybody that's listening out there to consider trademarking. I think it's very important. What's the best way for somebody to contact you if they want to at least talk to you about it? I'm sure you'll have a chat to somebody without sending them an invoice.
Oh, yes. So my website is www.geoffmoller.com. That's GeoffMoller. So it's Facebook or to my website, and that's probably the easiest way to contact me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Look, I'd like to thank you heaps for the time today, Geoff. It's been really awesome talking to you and an absolute pleasure. I'd like to thank everybody for listening, and if you got some gold nuggets out of this, please like, share or comment, and I look forward to talking to you in the next video. Have an awesome day.